Looks like we're going to get true brand new Transpheres on the 15th of March, which is technically today. So I'm a little bit late to this one, but I wanted to check it out, kind of give you guys my thoughts and opinions on this. So the first one's going to be Vegito Normal. So this is going to be split finger shot. It's going to fire 5 key blasts, 1 from each finger, obviously. And this one looks pretty nice. So Vegito obviously is a really cool character, and having his Transphere would be really awesome. I like his fit, and I kind of like the design here. Now, this attack in particular does look like a pretty fast attack. Honestly, we can't really see how much of a tracking it is because Boo is standing still, but it does seem pretty quick. Like, you kind of get it in and out of your animation rather quickly, so you're not going to be too vulnerable to any kind of dodge or attack outside of that. You know, think like Zamasu or something like that is firing at your butt from the other side. But yeah, you can see that it does a decent amount of damage. Hopefully, we'll be able to check it out in game if we get lucky enough, and we'll actually be able to showcase the amount of damage. But you can see that it breaks them. And then, yeah, you pretty much just get in and out of the animation, which I personally like. So moving into the next super attack, this is going to be Finish Breaker. This one's going to be a little bit of the opposite. So it's a little bit more vulnerable in my opinion, because it looks like you are stuck in this animation for a minute. It does kind of look like it would be kind of nice for a mid-range or kind of closer range attack. Basically, if somebody's in your face, you can maybe kind of push them back and be able to use this attack in order to kind of close the distance and kind of push them into a spot, like kind of get off me, basically. So that would be one of the only times I might use it, because it does seem like if they did dodge it or you were missing quite a bit, it's not going to be the most favorable thing. You are stuck in this animation for quite a long time, so if you end up missing this stuff, it does seem like you're probably not going to be in a very good shape. So we'll have to test this one out as well, but it does take a little bit of time before they actually break, so it's the whole duration of this basically. And I'm guessing if you miss any of these shots, you're probably not going to be able to break it. So that's just one of those things where this attack seems a little worse, honestly, than this one, just because this one's a lot faster. Seems like it has better tracking, and obviously you just have to hit them once with all of it at the same time to break. And this one just seems a little bit more like patience and a little bit more time consuming. And it definitely seems like you have to be more consistent with hitting all the different things. So I don't necessarily know how much I like it. So moving on to Kamehameha, we all know how Kamehameha works. Very nice attack, super cool, and you won't have to switch anybody off. So basically, if you like Kamehameha, you'll be able to use Vegitos, and it'll be a nice little bread and butter for you to keep with, you know, some of the other different super attacks he has, as Kamehameha has a pretty quick attack that allows you to break and be able to do a decent amount of damage pretty early on. This next one is going to be passive skill, though. I actually really like this passive skill. So this is going to be if dragon charging while the camera is facing a raider that has been spotted, greatly increases movement speed for a short time when approaching the raider. The effect ends once within a certain distance from the raider. So you have to be facing the raider has to be spotted, and then you are going to be able to transform and close the gap really fast. I actually kind of like this one, honestly, because there are a lot of situations, and this one's actually showcasing this pretty nicely, where you're like level 2 and the raider is level 1 and you want to close the gap. You want to do a lot of damage, and obviously the raider is not going to want to fight. Usually when it comes to like this level discrepancy, they're not going to really want to face you. They're going to want to try to get away, or maybe do key blast from a distance, kind of like edge you out and be able to do damage from kind of far away. So this is going to allow you to just bum rush. Imagine having like 2 or 3 of these, you know, people with these battle instincts, and you're all just rushing them at the same time. You're going to be doing a lot of damage at the very early stages. So it's really nice to be able to kind of see the pressure being put on some of these different characters, especially with somebody like Zamasu, or something where you're able to do a little bit of pressure. If you have a couple of different people on level 1, as you ramp up on level 2 and 3, you start to kind of be edged out pretty quickly with Zamasu and Goku Black. So having kind of like a buffer or something that you're able to kind of do when they're level 1 and maybe you're level 2 and you got pretty lucky with some of the different charges, I think this is pretty nice. So obviously you can see that you go pretty quick and then you start to kind of slow down. So I think this would be pretty nice for people who are rushing in and trying to do as much damage as they humanly can at the very beginning, and kind of just get the raider to go somewhere else, or kind of like screw off, you know, basically. So it'd also be kind of useful in the terms of like trying to save somebody. Maybe somebody else is in a fight and you're able to kind of spot them and face towards them. You're able to dash in and really help somebody really quick. I could see this being used for a couple of different things. Maybe at the end when you're doing, you know, your super time machine, you're able to kind of get in pretty quickly. If you're able to get your resources and stuff like that, and then transform while you're facing them, you're able to kind of push in really quickly. I can see this being used in a couple different ways, which hopefully we'll be able to kind of showcase when we jump into our own games. I'm really hoping I'm able to summon on these guys and get them. So the next one is going to be Goku Black, and this one is pretty interesting, I will say, just because a lot of these attacks seem kind of like reskins or recolors basically. So this is Super Black Kamehameha, and to be 100% honest, this just looks like Super Kamehameha Reskin, honestly, I like the reskin, but we don't necessarily know basically all the different properties of it. We'll have to jump into the actual game and see what the damage dealt and all that different stuff is. I imagine it's very similar to the Super Kamehameha because it recently got a buff from what I understand. And so this is probably in preparation for something like this that allows this attack to be more versatile, as well as the Super Kamehameha being versatile and just giving it a little bit more of a buff. So obviously you can see that it does the whole animation, breaks the armor there, and you know, you're just able to be in a little bit of a decent spot. I don't think you're going to be able to spam that one. We'll have to kind of test it out. The next one's going to be Black Kamehameha. So basically the same thing, your Kamehameha version black. This one's going to be pretty nice. It's pretty quick, obviously. Just like the Kamehameha, it's a nice little attack to be able to do. It's pretty consistent. Does a decent amount of damage. Obviously, we don't know how much damage it's going to do, but I'm going to guess it's very, very similar, if not the same amount of damage as a regular Kamehameha. We all like Kamehamehas because they're pretty consistent, nice little damage there. And they're pretty quick, so you can get in and out of them. The next one's going to be the active skill here. This is going to be key detection. And as somebody who is rather new to the survival scene, I honestly think this is going to help a lot of newbies, if not just a lot of kind of seasoned people who like to go for civilians and know where the raider's at. So basically, this is key detection. It shows the aura of civilians and the raider within a certain range for a brief amount of time, not shared with allies. Okay, so this is going to be kind of like your own lenses. You're going to be able to see everything. You can call out stuff, obviously, to people. Maybe you're playing in Discord or something like that. You'll be able to kind of call it out, but that's about it. So anybody who likes the Civ Rush, maybe you want to jump in and get higher levels really quickly, especially in a fight against like Zamasu, Goku Black, as you're you're pretty much trying to outpace him before they get to 2 or 3, because that's when the real fight starts, and he gets up there pretty fast and pretty quick, and you can keep a tab on him as well, which is super nice. So I imagine that this is also going to highlight Zamasu when he's kind of floating around doing his thing. I mean, he's kind of easy to see because he's got a whole aura around him, so it's kind of hard like not to see him. But sometimes you can get wedged into different places and stuff like that and creep up on you if you don't hear his voice lines first. So yeah, this is pretty nice for anybody who wants to go into civilian rushing and get those levels on pretty consistently, pretty fast. I think personally, I'm probably going to use this because I just think it helps out a ton, honestly. And the fact that he can do it to us and I can do it back just makes me feel kind of poetic, I guess. I can do it back, bro. I can see where you're at. But yeah, you can see the raiders kind of zooming around over there. It's pretty nice. It kind of has that nice little thing, and it actually looks like it has a pretty decent amount of distance, honestly, because he's up over that hill, from what I understand, and past this building. So it's not, you know, it's not the worst range and stuff like that, because it says a certain range, but I think that's a pretty decent range, honestly. And the civilians over here, so yeah, you'll be able to kind of scan stuff pretty quickly. This one though is really, really, really interesting. This is going to be memories of battle. So restores cooldown time for dragon change as soon as your barrier breaks. So whenever you get that barrier break, we'll kind of try to slow this down as much as I can. But you can see down here as he's at 9% of his dragon charge there. And when he gets hit, he goes up to 30. Okay, so that's 39%. You went up 30% just by getting smacked. That's pretty decent, bro. Especially if you're on the cuff. Like say that you're at 70 or like whatever. If you get hit, you're going to have more options to basically get away. You're not going to have to just rely on your transversal skills. You'll be able to use your D-charge if you're getting pressured and pushed down, which we all know a lot of these characters and a lot of these raiders are very pressure heavy, especially level 2s and level 1s. For Zamasu and Goku Black, they're very, very kind of in your face. So being able to kind of get an early charge off would be pretty nice to be able to kind of tip the balance. Or if, you know, for example, you get out of your D change, you're able to maybe drink a drink or whatever, and you get up to that 70-80%, you get smacked again, you'll be able to go back into your change rather quickly. So it's a pretty nice little skill there. And from what I understand, it does continue to go. So it's not like a one-time done thing. If you get your barrier back and basically it breaks again, you'll be able to use it again. So that's pretty nice, obviously, because you'll be able to repeat use it, especially if maybe you have like one of those like barrier protection thingies, as well as like the auto barrier passives that you could get. It would be pretty nice to be able to kind of stack these over time. You'd have a nice little passive skill that gives you back your charge whenever you get hit, and then you can get your barrier back after a short amount of time. So it'd be pretty nice to kind of continuously go through. But honestly, we'll have to kind of check these out and see how they actually function in game. Like I said, I really hope I'm able to get these guys. I'm going to go pretty hard summoning just so I can showcase these guys to you. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the channel, learned a little bit of stuff, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your night, guys. Peace.